remember what we did with XLE. I have it in my tracker. So we had different strikes for XLE. We had the 90.95s on XLE, if I remember correctly. Now, we already had a trade on XLE a few weeks ago. We closed it for a profit. Great. And we rolled some of our money into the next leg, which was going to be for 718. We did the 90.95s. But oil and energy took a bit of a downturn. So we decided to take this date and roll it back to 711. When you do that, it creates a credit. But it's great. So I got a credit that'll reduce my cost, give myself less time for the trade to work with these strikes. And these strikes were too far away. So in addition to rolling it back from the 18th to the 11th, I changed the strikes, not only the strikes, but the whiff. From 90.95, I moved the strikes down to 87.90, so I had a better chance of getting in the money. So you're not going to get a credit. It ended up costing 40 cents. 30, I forget what it cost. I not only did I guess I can go to the alert. Let's see, 30 something cents, 38. Thanks, Cheryl. It cost 38 cents. This is a really cool way to manage your position. So what we initially had back in June is we traded the 86. Funny, if we had traded the exact, isn't that funny? If we had traded the exact same strikes for July that we traded in June, we'd be fine. So we had this trade on 86.89 for July, and we closed it at an 80% profit. Then we put on a new trade. We did this on the same day for 90.95. That's the one I showed you there, the 90.95s. And it cost $1.25. But then I decided, we did this in the room on July 1st. We rolled forward to 711, and it cost 38 cents. I think for me, Cheryl, I wrote here in the alert that it was 23 cents. My initial cost, yeah, for me it was 23. 23 cents was that. I think you might be confusing that with XRT. This was 23 cents. So this brought it to 148. So now I've got the 87.90s for $1.48. And so now I have a better shot. So do you all see that this trade that we put, the 18th, the 90.95s for $1.25, which we had in here, as price dropped into the 80s, do you see how this became too far for us to make any money? In fact, we were 70%, 80% down. Instead of just selling the trade and recapturing some of our capital, I believed in the energy sector. I saw that the dollar was starting to turn. I thought energy would get a boost, which they did. So I rolled it backwards, and I changed the strikes to 87.90, and it cost 23 cents to do it. So now I've got 148 to 87.90s. But I then bought more of the 87.90s at 40 cents. So I averaged down. $0.94. So I now have double the amount for $94 per trade. So now let's take a look at the chart. Just remember this, $94 for the 87.90s, and they expire this Friday. Roll backwards just means exactly that. If you had a trade, that was for this Friday, JP, and you're running out of time. So by tomorrow on Wednesday, you're like, oh man, I love this trade, but it's going to expire on Friday. I got theta decay. I need more time. Then you can roll it forward. You roll it to the next week. So that closes out this trade and opens the same trade here. Whatever dollars you got left here, it moves it over to here, so it reduces your cost, but you roll it to the next week to give yourself more time. That's a typical roll. Rolling backwards is if you have the trade out here And I don't care how much time we have. I think it's fallen too far. But I believe in the trade. I'm willing to cut the time down by a week. I'm going to roll this the other way. And usually that provides a credit. But when you change the strikes and move the strikes lower, if they're calls, to try to get closer to at the money, instead of it being a credit, it's a cost. So it's going to cost you to roll back, but usually not that much, as we have done many times. So if you look at this chart, our original trade that we rolled was this, 90.95. Now this might still happen by 7.18. But you can see what we did here when we rolled it. We were like sitting down here at the 85 range. Can you see how this is too far as this gap down, this pull down here? So I changed the strikes so that it would be more manageable. So we did 87.90. We did this trade here. So do you see how this has a higher probability than the initial trade? So I was willing to pay 23 cents more for it. And then once I got it, I bought more, the same amount that I had, so I was able to average down the original trade, the roll, the average down, boom, boom, 94 cents a trade. And so here we are on this beautiful move. Now, here's the thing about this move. Look where we are. We are literally right at the daily 200. Is it possible that we pull back from here? It is. So let's just take a look at how much our trade is worth. We know we're in it for 94 cents, $1.25. So I'm going to take this trade off right now at $1.25. We paid 94. So just look at the anatomy of the trade. We got XLE back in June, and we had a surge. Not only did we have a surge, our strikes were so out of the money, but because we had this big surge, we were profitable. Then we took this trade, the 90.95, with some of that profit, for $1.25. Didn't look like the trade was really going to make it because of this downward move here, this huge candle down. Now we're down here, so we're too far. So for that $1.25, we rolled it back a week, so now it expires this Friday. We changed the strikes to 87.90. Cost us 23 cents, 148. Bought more of them at 40 cents. That gives us 94 cents per trade, and now the trade's worth $1.25. Everybody with me? Yeah, so it's like a 33% profit. But think about this, ladies and gentlemen. You went from spending 125 and being down by 80%, so however many of those you had, to now being able to make a 33% profit on twice as many contracts. That's huge. Huge. Yeah, of course you did, Michael, because that's what you do. Michael loves protecting his win rate. And one of the reasons why Michael likes to take profits earlier is because he usually has like 20 to 25 trades on at once. So good for you. Excellent. Now I had 6 of these to start. So I went pigeon feeder. I had 6 of these to start. So 6 times 1.25, that's about on the low end of my allocation, $750. And I was going to lose 80%. So I was going to lose $600. But now I have 12 of them. So I'm now going to make $372 in profit. I went from being down 600 to up. That is a huge swing. And all we did was manage the trade and look at the setup that existed. Came down here, found support. I believed in it. I thought we could at least make a move up to if you remember my commentary at the time, I said if we could just make a move up to the 200. You guys remember? We talked about this. That's why we did this change. That's why we did this move. All right. With such a move, perhaps I should take off half. But I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and take it. Take the money and run.
Order filled.
Boom. Come over to my try. This is my new habit now that I've created for myself. This was my July 4th resolution. Anytime I take a trade off, I'm going to immediately go to the tracker, which I have not been doing. I'm going to immediately go to the tracker and take the trade and put the trade in here. I got filled at 126. There it is. Right? 32%. See the 32% there? So the math that I did actually was pretty damn close. Yeah, about 32% profit minus my commissions, 80 cents per leg. Little commentary and trade category. I'm going to put in a trade category here. I hate to say this, but here's the thing. I could say feed the pigeons because feed the pigeons means that you took profits early. But this was the plan. We had a trade that worked. We rolled it into the next trade. The trade did not work out, so we rolled it back in hopes that we could get up to the 200 moving average daily. So we did that, plus we added to the trade by averaging down. And it did, in fact, go to the 200, and I'm taking my profits. That's all to plan, folks. That is positive. If you want to use feed the pigeons, you can. But that is certainly a great management of the trade and a positive result.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video from Trade With Me Now. Make sure to go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel so you make sure that you catch our next video right when it's released. Also, if you have a question or comment, please leave that in the comment section below. And of course, if you want to learn more about Trade With Me Now or join our community of profitable traders, go to tradewithmenow.com. There's also a link in the description below.